So let me ask you something. Do you remember the exact moment you signed your car loan? I'm talking about that feeling when you're sitting in that little finance office at the dealership. You know the one with the fake plants and the motivational poster on the wall, and the finance guy is typing away on his computer, printing out papers. And then he slides this document across the desk and says, "Congratulations, we got you approved." And for a second, you feel this wave of relief wash over you because you really needed this car. Your old one was dying. You needed reliable transportation to get to work. And then he tells you the number, $523 a month for 72 months at 7.9%. And you do the quick math in your head. $523, yeah, I can make that work. It's a little tight, but I can do it. So you sign. You shake his hand. You drive off the lot with that new car smell and you feel accomplished. You got approved. You got the car. You did it. But here's what you didn't know at that moment. You just agreed to pay $37,656 for a $30,000 car. You didn't just buy a car, you bought a car plus an invisible $7,656 ghost car that you'll never see, never drive, and never own. That $7,656 is just gone, evaporated into interest payments over the next 6 years. And here's the part that's going to make you want to punch a wall. If you had known one simple trick, something that would take you literally 90 seconds to set up, you could have saved $3,200 of that money without changing your lifestyle by even $1. You wouldn't have had to skip vacations, you wouldn't have had to stop getting coffee, you wouldn't have had to do anything different except click 3 buttons when you make your payment each month. But nobody told you. The finance guy definitely didn't tell you. The dealership didn't tell you. Your bank isn't going to tell you. And that $3,200 that should be in your pocket, it's in theirs. Look, I don't know you personally, but I know what you're probably thinking right now. Wait, have I been doing this wrong? How much money have I already lost? And if you've been making car payments for the last few years and you're feeling a little sick to your stomach right now, I need you to stick with me because I'm about to show you exactly how to stop the bleeding, how much you can still save, and how to make sure you never make this mistake again. My name is Rayhan, and I spend way too much time thinking about how the average person is getting absolutely demolished by car loans without even realizing it. If you're someone who's currently making a car payment every month and you've never once thought about how much of that payment is actually going toward your car versus just disappearing into interest, or if you're about to buy a car and you want to avoid making a $5,000 mistake that'll haunt you for years, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because look, I'm going to show you something today that sounds too simple to be true, but I'm going to prove it to you with actual math, using your loan, not some hypothetical example. And once you see it, you're going to be genuinely angry that no one explained this to you before you signed those papers. Let's start with the reality of car loans in America right now. According to Experian's 2024 State of the Automotive Finance Market Report, the average new car loan is $40,366 at 7.1% for 68 months. The average used car loan, $27,743 at 11.5% for 67 months. Now, here's what most people don't realize. When you finance a car, you're not just paying for the car, you're paying for the privilege of not having the money to buy the car, and that privilege is expensive. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Let's take that average new car loan, $40,000 at 7.1% for 68 months. Your monthly payment is going to be about $698. Seems reasonable, right? Over nearly 6 years, you'll pay a total of $47,464. That's $7,464 in interest. You essentially bought a second invisible car worth $7,464 and then just lit it on fire. But here's where it gets really interesting. Most people look at that $698 payment and think, okay, if I can afford $698 a month, I can afford this car. But they never ask the question that changes everything. What if I could afford $798 a month? Now you might be thinking, Rayhan, what are you talking about? If I pay an extra $100, I'm just paying more. And that's where psychology gets you. Because you're not paying more for the car, you're paying more toward the car. And this is the loophole banks desperately hope you never understand. Here's how car loans actually work, and this is going to make you realize why this matters so much. Car loans use something called simple interest, which means the interest is calculated based on your current principal balance. Every month, the bank looks at how much you owe, multiplies it by your interest rate, and that's your interest for the month. The rest of your payment goes to principal. Let's break down that $698 payment on a $40,000 loan at 7.1%. Month 1. Principal balance, $40,000. Interest charge, $236.67. Principal paid, $461.33. New balance, $39,538.67. You see what's happening here. In month 1, a third of your payment is just interest. You paid almost $700 and only knocked $461 off the actual loan. But watch what happens if you pay that extra $100. Now you're paying $798 instead of $698. Month 1 with extra $100. Principal balance, $40,000. Interest charge, $236.67. Principal paid, $561.33. That's $100 more. New balance, $39,438.67. Now here's where the magic happens. In month 2, you're not calculating interest on $39,538.67. You're calculating it on $39,438.67, $100 less. Month 2 with extra $100. Principal balance, $39,438.67. Interest charge, $233.34. 59 cents less than before. Principal paid, $564.66. New balance, $38,874.01. Wait, Rayhan, you're telling me I saved 59 cents? Why should I care about 59 cents? Because it compounds. Every single month, you're paying interest on a smaller balance, which means more of each payment goes to principal, which means the balance drops even faster, which means even less interest next month. This is a snowball rolling downhill, and it picks up speed fast. Let me show you the real numbers, because this is where people's jaws hit the floor. Scenario 1. Standard payments of $698. Total months, 68. Total paid, $47,464. Total interest, $7,464. Scenario 2. Paying $788, an extra $100 per month. Total months, 56. Total paid, $44,688. Total interest, $4,688. Wait, let's break this down. You paid the loan off a full year earlier, 12 months faster. You saved $2,776 in interest. You paid less overall, even though you were paying more per month. Now you might be thinking, Rayhan, I paid an extra $100 a month for 56 months. That's $5,600 extra I had to come up with. And here's where the psychology shift happens. You didn't pay $5,600 extra, you paid $5,600 toward your car instead of toward the bank's profit.
And actually, the real math is even better than that. Because you only made 56 payments instead of 68, you actually came out ahead by $2,776 in real savings. Plus, you got 12 months of your life back without a car payment. If you took that $698 you were going to pay for those 12 months and invested it in literally anything, a high-yield savings account at 4.5%, an S&P 500 index fund, you're building wealth instead of paying interest. We used $100 as an example, but look what happens with different amounts. Extra $50 a month, loan paid off in 63 months, 5 months earlier, total interest $6,620, savings $844. Extra $150 a month, loan paid off in 51 months, 17 months earlier, total interest $4,088, savings $3,376. Extra $200 a month, loan paid off in 47 months, 21 months earlier, Total interest, $3,649. Savings, $3,815. You see what's happening. The more you attack the principal, the more you save on interest. And it's not a linear relationship, it's exponential. Going from $0 extra to $100 extra saves you $2,776. But going from $100 extra to $200 extra saves you another $1,039. The returns accelerate. And here's what most people don't realize. You don't have to commit to paying extra every single month. Any month you have extra cash, a bonus, a tax refund, a birthday gift from grandma, throw it at the principal. Every single dollar you pay above your minimum payment goes 100% to principal and reduces your interest for every future payment. Now you might be wondering, Rihan, if this is such a good deal, why doesn't my bank tell me about this? Why isn't this advertised? Because banks make money on interest. That's the business model. According to the Federal Reserve, Americans currently owe $1.61 trillion in auto loan debt. Trillion, with a T. And the banks are collecting billions in interest on that debt every single year. When you walk into a dealership, the finance manager is incentivized to get you the longest loan possible at the highest rate you'll accept. Why? Because a 72-month loan at 7% generates way more interest than a 48-month loan at 7%. They're not trying to screw you over necessarily. They're just doing their job, which is to maximize profit for the bank. Here's the thing. They're counting on you to think in terms of monthly payments instead of total cost. They'll say things like, we can get your payment down to $450 by stretching it to 84 months. And you think, great, I saved money. But you didn't. You just agreed to pay interest for 7 years instead of 5. This is what I call the payment mindset trap. As long as they can get the payment into your budget, they've won. Because most people will make that payment for the entire term of the loan without ever thinking about paying extra. There's actually research on this. A study by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York found that when loan terms extend, people focus almost entirely on the monthly payment amount and largely ignore the total cost of the loan. It's a psychological blind spot, and the auto lending industry has built a $1 trillion business on it. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, Rihan, what if I invest that extra $100 instead? Won't I make more money? Look, I love this objection because it shows you're thinking. But here's the thing. That $100 extra payment is giving you a guaranteed return equal to your interest rate. If your loan is 7.1%, every dollar you pay toward principal is earning you a 7.1% tax-free return. Show me an investment right now that's going to give you a guaranteed 7.1% return with zero risk. You can't. The S&P 500 averages about 10% over the long term, but that's not guaranteed, and it comes with volatility and risk. Paying down a 7.1% loan is a guaranteed 7.1% return. And if your used car loan is at 11.5%, you're getting an 11.5% guaranteed return. That beats almost any investment out there when you factor in risk. But what if I need that money for an emergency? Valid point. This is why I always tell people, build your emergency fund first. If you don't have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, focus on that before you start aggressively paying down your car loan. But here's the thing. Once you have that emergency fund, there's no reason not to attack high-interest debt. The emergency fund is your safety net. The extra payments are your wealth-building tool. What if my car has a prepayment penalty? Great question. Some loans, especially some subprime auto loans, do have prepayment penalties. But here's what most people don't realize. The vast majority of car loans do not have prepayment penalties. According to Consumer Reports, fewer than 10% of auto loans have them. Read your loan agreement. It's usually on page 2 or 3. If you do have a prepayment penalty, it's usually only for the first year or two, and it's usually capped at a small percentage. But honestly, if your loan has a prepayment penalty, that's a red flag that you got a predatory loan and you should be looking to refinance immediately. Which brings me to my next point. You can combine this strategy with refinancing to create what I call the double acceleration effect. Let's say you bought that car 2 years ago at 7.1% when rates were higher. You've been making your payments, your credit score is improved, and now you can refinance to 5.5% for 48 months. Your current balance is probably around $35,000 if you've been making minimum payments. If you refinance to 5.5% for 48 months, your payment might be around $815, a bit higher than your current $698, but now you're at a lower rate and a shorter term. Now add the extra $100 strategy on top and pay $915 instead of $815 and watch what happens. Standard refinance at $815 a month, paid off in 48 months, total interest $4,120. Refinance plus extra $100 at $915 a month, paid off in 42 months, total interest $3,465. Additional savings $665. You're stacking multipliers. Lower rate, shorter term, plus extra payments equals maximum savings. And here's what really kills me. Most people who've had their car loan for 2 to 3 years never even think about refinancing. They just assume they're stuck with their rate. But if your credit score has improved by even 50 points, you could potentially save thousands by refinancing. Check sites like LendingTree, your local credit union, or even your current bank. It takes 20 minutes and could save you $2,000. Okay, so here's exactly what you need to do. I'm going to give you the step-by-step process that takes this from interesting information to actual money in your pocket. Step 1. Know your numbers. Log into your auto loan account right now. Write down current balance, interest rate, remaining months, current monthly payment. If you don't know how to find this, call your lender. You need these numbers. Step 2. Calculate your savings. Go to a car loan calculator online. Bankrate has a good one. Input your current balance, interest rate, and remaining months to see your current payoff trajectory. Then use the extra payment feature to see what happens when you pay extra. Step 3. Find your number. Look at your budget. What can you realistically afford to pay extra each month? Maybe it's $50, maybe it's $200, maybe some months it's $100, and other months it's $25. That's fine. Any extra payment helps. The key is to be consistent. Step 4. Set up the extra payment correctly. This is crucial. When you make your extra payment, you need to specify that it goes toward principal only. Most auto loan servicers have an option for this when you make a payment online. If you don't specify, they might apply it to next month's payment, which doesn't help you. If your servicer doesn't have an online option, call them and say, "I want to make an extra principal payment." They'll tell you how to do it. Some require a separate payment, some have a special memo field. Figure out your lender's process. Step 5. Track your progress. Every few months, check your loan balance and amortization schedule. Watch as you see the payoff date creep closer and the interest charges shrink. This is incredibly motivating. You're watching your wealth grow in real time. Step 6. Consider refinancing. If you've had your loan for 12 plus months and you think your credit score has improved, get a refinance quote. It costs nothing to check. If you can drop your rate by even 1%, it's probably worth it. Step 7. When the loan is paid off, keep the habit. Here's the final piece. When you pay off this car loan early, don't just increase your spending by $698 a month. Take that payment you've been making and redirect it to building wealth. Invest it, save it, use it to avoid financing your next car. This is how you break the cycle. Look, we've been conditioned to think that debt is just normal, that having a car payment is a fact of life, that you're always going to owe money on something. And the banks love this mentality because as long as you're thinking, "I can afford the payment," they can keep you in debt indefinitely. You pay off one car, you finance another one. The payment stays the same, but you never build wealth. But here's what changes when you understand this loophole. You realize that you have power. Every extra dollar you pay toward principal is a dollar that's working for you instead of for the bank. You're buying your freedom. You're reclaiming your money. And once you pay off this car early, you've built a habit. You've proven to yourself that you can do this. So when you need your next car, maybe you can save up and pay cash. Or maybe you finance half and pay cash for half. Or maybe you keep driving your paid-off car for another 3 years and invest that $698 a month, and suddenly you have $30,000 sitting in an investment account. This is how wealth is built.
Not through get-rich-quick schemes, not through crypto gambling or stock tips, through making smart, consistent decisions that compound over time. And understanding how to pay off your car loan early is one of those decisions. Let me be real with you for a second. If you're sitting here watching this video and you've got a car loan at 12% interest for 84 months on a car that's already worth less than you owe, I'm not judging you, but I am going to tell you you're in a bad situation and you need to fix it. Maybe that means selling the car and buying something cheaper. Maybe that means working overtime for 6 months to build an emergency fund so you can start making extra payments. Maybe that means making some temporary lifestyle changes to free up cash. Because here's what nobody tells you. That car payment is stealing your future. Every month you're in debt is a month you're not building wealth, and time is the most valuable asset you have when it comes to building wealth. I'm not saying you need to live on rice and beans and drive a 1998 Corolla forever, but I am saying you need to be intentional about this. You need to have a plan to get out of this loan, and you need to execute that plan. I just showed you how paying an extra $100 a month on a typical car loan can save you nearly $3,000 and free up a year of your life. I showed you how this compounds and accelerates over time. I showed you how banks profit when you don't know this. And I gave you the exact step-by-step plan to implement this starting today. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Because here's the thing. Information without action is just entertainment. You can watch this video, think that's interesting, and then go back to making your minimum payment for the next 6 years, and in 6 years, you'll be in the exact same place, having paid thousands in unnecessary interest. Or you can pause this video right now, log into your auto loan account, and make an extra $50 principal payment, just to prove to yourself that you can do it, just to see that balance drop a little bit extra. And then you can do it again next month, and the month after that. Small actions, compounded over time, create massive results. If this video helped you understand car loans in a way you never did before, do me a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel if you want more content about how to stop making expensive financial mistakes and start building actual wealth. And drop a comment below telling me how much extra are you going to pay toward your car loan this month? Because I want to know. I want to see a comment section full of people saying $75, $120, $200. I want to see people taking action. Your financial future is not predetermined. You have more control than you think. And it starts with understanding how the system works and then using that knowledge to your advantage. The banks are hoping you miss this loophole. Don't let them win. I'll see you in the next one.